Welcome, everyone. My name is James Dones from Rethink Movement. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this webinar today. If you're watching this, chances are you've already gone through the initial stages of your knee replacement recovery. Now you're ready to take that next big step or that next big leap towards exercise and rebuilding your strength. Today, we're going to break down the top 3 mistakes to avoid when returning to exercise. But more importantly, let's talk about how to avoid those mistakes so that you could safely and effectively not only rebuild your strength, but your confidence again. So let's dive in. So most physical therapy prescriptions last for 8 to 12 weeks. Full recovery from a knee replacement can last up to a year. I always felt like there was a big gap here between really what you needed and how much guidance you had initially. For most people, I think physical therapy is a positive experience. It's challenging, but it's positive. In that stage of recovery, you focus mainly on restoring your range of motion, decreasing some of your pain, and getting back to some base level of strengthening. I do think the gap or the problem may be is that after 3 months, you do feel better, but you're still kind of a ways from full recovery. So then what happens when your PT sessions kind of come to an end? What next? It does amaze me that there's a new piece of hardware in your body and you're really only guided for the first 3 months or so with PT. And then the rest of that time, you're kind of left on your own trying to figure it out. Especially when those initial stages were focused mainly on your range of motion, which again is very crucial and very important at that stage. But I do think at month 3, some people feel like they should be a little further along with their activity level. Yes, their range of motion is much better now, and yes, they are walking more comfortably. But after PT, how do you continue to work towards those goals of being active again? So you just want to feel normal again. Some activities that are commonly appropriate following a knee replacement are cycling, pickleball, hiking, surfing, yoga, golfing. These are just a few of the joint-friendly activities that you commonly hear people returning to after a knee replacement. So working with clients over the years, you really start to understand really on a personal level the toll a knee replacement can run. It's a huge physical challenge, but also a psychological challenge. It's not uncommon to see people feeling a little depressed. It's very isolating. There's a lot of unknowns. You'll walk again, but you're not sure if you're going to stay in shape. You want to get back to the levels of activity you were at before and continue to live an active lifestyle. There aren't many resources online that provide exercises following a knee replacement. So if you're looking to return to some of those activities that we just discussed, you need a plan that's targeted and it has to build on progress over time. Those pamphlet of exercises that you were issued when PT finished that include wall squats, leg raises, maybe step-ups and heel raises, these simply aren't enough to get you closer to living an active lifestyle. You're more capable than you think. Many clients get nervous when I show them a photo like this. They think I'll fall or it's too much stress on my knee, it's too challenging. I'm not here to promise that you should be jumping or running or anything like that, or that you should even strive to reach this level of fitness. But I do think there's a safe and effective way of building not only your strength, but your confidence again. You need to be exposed to much more over time and in a system that doesn't leave you guessing on how to progress. Fear and confusion about what to do next, they're both pitfalls that could easily be avoided. There should be a continuation of your rehab beyond physical therapy. So before we dive any deeper, for context, a little bit more about me. My name's James Dones. I'm 40 years old. I've worked in rehab and strength and conditioning for the last 22 years. I've had 2 surgeries myself, both for a knee and a shoulder. Granted, not a replacement, but they really impacted the way I look at exercise myself. Joint friendliness more than aesthetics has always been my main focus. Pain-free is not the goal, but I don't think you should be in more pain following an exercise routine. My professional background includes work in the hospital setting where I worked with total knees directly after surgery. I've worked in home health care, and I've spent a majority of my time in outpatient orthopedics. That being said, I'm very familiar with each stage of your recovery, and I hope to share some of my expertise with many of you today. So here are some common mistakes we often encounter with knee replacement clients when returning to exercise. Mistake number 1 would be focusing only on the knee. It's an odd statement to make considering this webinar is about knee replacements, but let me give you some context. So the body is interconnected, and focusing only on your knee is not necessarily the solution. So much focus initially is placed on getting your range of motion back, getting your knee to bend, getting it to straighten out, getting your quad to activate. Those are all very important and very much necessary at the beginning stages of your journey, but there needs to be an endpoint to that stage. Rather than focusing only on getting your knee stronger, let's focus on the bigger picture, which is coordination. Muscles and joints, they work together to create movement. So if one area is, let's say, stiff, weak, or even painful, then that segment will lock up and your body will find ways to work around it. You'll still function, but it just may not be as efficient. So, what we believe you need to do is you need to develop awareness in your movement. Pay attention to things, pay attention to how you walk, pay attention to any lingering aches, its locations. Do your shoes and socks show a certain wear pattern? Building coordination's all about building awareness. It's not just about getting stronger. It doesn't mean that getting stronger automatically fixes everything. If you're not encouraged to put weight back on your surgical leg, you could end up avoiding certain movement patterns for the rest of your life. Doing countless squats or lunges without properly loading that leg in a coordinated manner will prevent you from making the full progress you're capable of. So here's an example of a common scenario. Let's go back to before surgery. Your knee's been bothering you for years, some of you maybe even a decade. You start changing the way you walk to protect it. Maybe you have a little bit of a limp, or maybe you shift your weight to the other leg. Over time, this change becomes a habit. Eventually, it's something you just do without thinking. Your body adapts. Not putting weight on your knee means your foot, your hip, your trunk, even your skull have shifted to support this new position. It's not just your knee. So you finally decide to have your knee replaced. After weeks of intensive physical therapy, you regain your range of motion, you start walking again. But even with a new knee, some of those old habits may still stick with you. A new knee doesn't automatically undo all the patterns you developed over the years. So here I have an example of what it means to avoid certain patterns. Here I have two clients that are both 6 months plus post knee replacement. Both of them have full range of motion on a table. They can bend their knees to 120 degrees plus. But when I have them in standing and I ask them, can you bend your knee in standing? They both present in this unique way where their head's kind of drifting forward, or they're peeking forward with their head, their trunk, their shoulders. Everything moves forward but their knee. I show them this photo and they both think they're bending their knee, and they're both surprised to see that they're just peeking over. But again, they're not accustomed to loading their knee. They've been avoiding loading it for so many years. So now that you have an idea of what avoidance looks like, let me introduce you to mistake number two: doing exercises that feel good enough, but not more. So there are exercises that are appropriate for every stage of your recovery and for every goal. So, what may have helped get you to where you currently are may not be enough to reach where you want to go. So, again, exercise is appropriate for every stage, meaning the first 3 months really need to be focused on getting your range back, getting some tone back in your quad. Very important. But once that stage is over, there needs to be a progression of strengthening and a progression of difficulty. You need to gradually expose yourself to more challenging movements. Progress your exercises by gradually increasing the intensity until you reach your desired goal. If you don't acknowledge your limitations, you tend to focus only on what you're already comfortable doing. So when trying a new exercise, you can only move within the range you know. To make real progress, you need to gradually expose yourself to new movements in deeper ranges and in a safe environment. A great example of this would be the wall sit. It's safe, the range is comfortable, and you get a good burn in your quads. It even feels nice on your knees, so you keep doing it. Let's say you work up to a 60-second hold. While it's a great exercise, you can't stop there. You need to challenge your muscles even more, especially in positions or depths where you might not feel as comfortable or as strong in. Mistake number three: you're prioritizing treatments like foam rolling and massages. Do you ever wonder why you still feel tight the next day, even after a great massage? Your IT band tightness, calf tightness, low back aches, these are all very common after a knee replacement. And so, listen, everyone loves a great massage. I bet everyone owns a few foam rollers, maybe those rolling sticks, a massage gun. Those are all great, but they can't be your only tool in your toolbox. tightness in your IT band, your calf, your low back, those are usually symptoms of an underlying issue somewhere else. Instead of trying to just massage the pain away, think about why it's tight in the first place. Your brain's sneaky. It always tries to protect you by keeping you from loading areas that feel uncomfortable. Its number one goal is your protection, but this could lead to aches and pains in other areas of your body without you really knowing it. What you need to do instead is create stability around your leg. Be mindful with your movements, be purposeful with your exercises. So here's a scenario. Let's say you can make your leg straight comfortably while lying on the table, but when you stand up, it's difficult to keep it straight. It just has this tiny bend in it. Usually that's caused by a quad weakness. Now, if you walk with this tiny bend in your knee, your hamstrings and your calf, the legs behind, the muscles behind your leg, they're kind of on constant tension. They never get a chance to fully lengthen or relax. It'd be the equivalent of me giving you a 10-pound dumbbell and saying, I'd like you to hold this in your hand with a tiny bend in your elbow. By the end of the day, your bicep and your forearm will feel really tight because, again, you never gave it a chance to relax. So instead of thinking massage or roll out your calf and your hamstring, maybe let's look at it at a different perspective and think, well, maybe I don't have enough stability around my knee to support my leg. Here's an example of what I mean by mindful movements. I have a knee replacement client here, and on the picture on the left, you can kind of see how there's a bit of an angle here from her foot to her knee to her hip. She came to me saying that she has a lot of tightness in her IT band. And instead of thinking, let's stretch your IT band, massage it, we worked on realigning her. If you look at the picture on the right, you could see how everything looks a little more stacked. Her foot, her knee, her hip, her core, everything's kind of stacked on each other. That way we share the stress amongst multiple joints and not just overload her knee and have areas like her IT band have to compensate for this. So now I'd like to introduce you to some of my clients so that you could see what's possible from people just like you. So first, meet Joanne, an avid hiker and bird watcher who came to us with a challenge we see all too often. She had great range of motion after her knee replacement, but the real struggle was putting together a program that would actually help her build the strength and endurance to get back to doing what she loves. So after working with Joanne, we created a plan that focused on building her knees capacity step by step. We didn't just focus on strength, we made sure her program helped her improve stamina, her balance, and confidence on the trails. Meet Daryl. Daryl loves golfing, but he ran into a problem early on returning back to golf. Every time he'd have a big, powerful swing with his driver, he experienced some knee discomfort. Instead of targeting just Daryl's knee, we focused on foot mobility. And by increasing his foot mobility, we were able to get cleaner motion at his knee and cleaner motion at his hip. So through that, it allowed for a better range of motion again at multiple joints and a smoother movement through his swing with less stress at his knee. So Daryl's now back to golfing 18 holes without knee pain and swinging with more fluidity through his motion, again, because he's learning to share stress through multiple joints. So what's next? Now you've seen some of my clients and people just like you that are thriving after a knee replacement. It's time to stop wondering if you're doing the right thing for your recovery, and you need to start following a proven plan that helps you regain your confidence. So we've just covered some of the common mistakes that people run into when returning to exercise, and now it's time to address some of those head on. I want to introduce you to our program, TKA Basics. This program includes carefully coached exercises that don't just help you build strength, but they also teach you the why behind an exercise and the why behind why you might be struggling with certain movements. Understanding the why behind the movement is key to making lasting progress. No more guessing, no more uncertainty, just a clear, guided path to get you back to your best self. So our program is built around a simple but powerful framework. So first, connecting the foot. We start with the foundation. Your feet are the first point of contact with the ground. Ensuring proper alignment and activation sets the stage for everything else. Loading the chain. Once the feet are connected and rooted, we focus on how your body moves as a whole, loading the kinetic chain properly from the foot to the knee, to your hip, to your core. This ensures you're building strength efficiently and safely. Power and balance. Finally, we integrate power and balance to help you move with confidence. It's not just about strength, it's about having the stability and the control to perform everyday activities with ease. In the upcoming slides, I'll dive deeper into each of these elements to show you how they work together for long term success. So, first, connecting the foot. There are 26 bones and 33 joints in one foot. It's often overlooked in rehab, but I think it's a really important thing to consider when strengthening anyone's lower body. Your foot position will influence your knee position. The foot tripod's an important concept. You have to really appreciate these 3 points of contact: the ball of your big toe, the base of your little toe, and the center of your heel. When all those points are really well balanced and engaged, you create a nice stable base for your body to sit on top of. It might seem like a small detail, but how your foot connects with the ground will have a huge impact on how you'll perform an exercise. By focusing on these foot tripods, you'll improve your balance, you'll definitely enhance the effectiveness of an exercise, and you'll protect your knee and joint from unnecessary strains. Mastering a simple principle, it really will help set the stage for more controlled movement down the road. Second is loading the chain. This is where you get strong and really build muscle. This section progresses in intensity over time, but it builds on previous movements so you don't feel overwhelmed. As I mentioned, you have to continue to build strength over time. We just simply take the guesswork out of it for you. So learn to coordinate your foot, knee, hip, and core. Now, you've heard me mention this quite a few times, but when we talk about loading the chain, we're emphasizing the whole body, not just isolating individual muscles. Your body works as a connected system, so it's crucial to train it that way. So again, instead of focusing on strengthening just one muscle at a time, we help you move through exercise that engage multiple muscle groups in coordination, creating a more balanced pattern of movement. This approach helps you move better in daily life and reduces the strain on your knee. As you do progress through the program, you'll gradually be exposed to more challenging exercises, but we'll always find kind of your sweet spot, the level of difficulty that's right for you to build strength and confidence without overloading your body too soon. So by learning to load the chain properly, you'll improve your overall movement, you'll enhance the efficiency of that movement, and protect your knee long term. Power and balance. It's more than just standing on one leg. When we talk about power and balance after a knee replacement, we mean something different than the traditional single leg balance with your eyes closed. Eyes closed. Power is your ability to quickly generate force or change direction. What do I mean by this? If you're walking and your foot snags a curb, you need to be able to quickly move your foot in front of you to regain your balance. That's a display of your power. How fast can you again project that foot out? Your reaction. After a knee replacement, getting your power back is key to moving faster and more confidently. Balance is more than just holding a position. It's about maintaining a solid base of support while you're moving. So we'll show you safe and effective ways to improve your balance while also increasing your speed so you can move again with confidence and stability. I'd like to kind of close out this webinar by saying I want you to be very specific to your goals. I'd love to say that this program is for everyone because I truly do believe it is, but I'm not here to claim that you should all be striving to return to playing pickleball or trying to cycle again. Some of you would benefit greatly from just this first section alone, or perhaps that first and second section. I'm not here to claim that you'll be able to run, but I do think everyone would benefit from moving better, being more efficient with their exercises, and building awareness around their needs.